was night 3 at the DNC, and the President of the United States brought the House down with his powerful endorsement of Hillary Clinton. Take a look.
Loved it. My favorite part of the speech, because when Bill Clinton was giving his speech, and he said at one point during his speech that someone had said maybe we elected the wrong Clinton in reference to another office, I was waiting and waiting for him to say she's actually better, and then he said it last night, and I was like, oh.
The speech just was so fantastic. I actually loved when people started booing about Trump, and he said, "Don't boo, vote." And I was like, there you go, boo.
The guy is generous, you know. That's what he exudes, is this generosity of spirit. He could have used the time to tout his legacy, to talk about all the things he's done, but instead he was there for Hillary. And of course, you know, let's be real, it is his legacy also if she continues to do what he's been doing.
It is, but it's also the idea that, listen, coming from where she's coming from right now, she is more ready than I was, than Bill was, because she's had many more hats.
That's right.
Going into this. So he's talking truth. And also, you know, it's like, it's your turn. That's what I found. He was like, okay, it's your turn.
And what also struck me was his speech could have been a Republican speech, because Republicans are supposed to be the party of Lincoln, right? And Republicans are about family values. He even talked about Reagan. He quoted Reagan in his speech. He said, Reagan, who called America a shining city on a hill, Trump calls it a divided crime scene. And then he went on to talk about, that was part of his speech. And he also went on to talk about values. And that really resonated with me, because I like to think that I'm principled, and I like to think that the values that my parents taught me are the values that I'm teaching my kids. And he said that his grandparents didn't admire braggarts or bullies. They didn't respect mean-spiritedness. Instead, they value traits like honesty, hard work, kindness, courtesy, humility, responsibility, and helping each other out. Who can't get on board with that?
Lots of people. Who can't?
This is what he does really, really well. And I think, you know, it was interesting to me that he quoted Reagan, because I saw it as an outreach opportunity. And I saw him numerous times in the speech speaking to people like me who have said, I can't vote for Donald Trump. And I think he was trying to appeal to us and quote Ronald Reagan and quote this sense of optimism looking forward. Now, of course,
Did he get you?
Not for Hillary, but, you know. But one of the reasons he's being optimistic, remember, though, is because it is his legacy. He's coming off of 8 years, and he can't be pessimistic about his own policies. So, of course, you know that. But I think there was an effort to kind of bring people together. And for me, he and Ronald Reagan are probably two of the best politicians in terms of delivery that we've seen in our country's history. So it was a nice parallel for him to acknowledge them. Kennedy was good, too.
And LBJ, you know, he didn't play.
Yeah. Another outreach, and I don't know if you noticed this Kennedy in his speech when he was referring to the Republican National Convention, and he said it wasn't particularly conservative either. He was almost saying, forever we've been Democrats and Republicans. This year it's something, or this campaign, it's something different. There's like Trump and then Democrats and Republicans. So I think that was an interesting distinction to me as well.
I
feel like he was demanding more from both sides. I think that was him calling out Republicans, because I do think President Obama is someone who can respect a certain type of Republican. I think he probably sits at home and can respect Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was a guy who reached across the aisle. He was charismatic. He developed a really strong support base. But I think that he is also someone who will call out in his own party and in the other party when he sees someone who's not being genuine or someone that's betraying what the message of the party should be. So I appreciate that.
Because, you know, it's important that the president remember who we are as a nation, and that we have to reflect that. And, you know, but, you know, look, he did what it took a lot of other people a long time to do. He understood. You know, he's like, look, I know. You know, I ran against her. That's why I put her in, because I know she knows. She knows.
Can I say something about that, which is interesting?
Sure.
To me, at least. I don't know if anyone's read Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns. She's a wonderful writer, Pulitzer Prize-winning writer and historian. She wrote this book called The Team of Rivals, The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln. And we know that President Obama loves and admires President Lincoln and his presidency. And what we are seeing, I think, from this president is putting together a team of rivals. He put Hillary Clinton into his cabinet, which is something that Lincoln did. Lincoln put 3 people into his cabinet that ran against him. We saw Joe Biden, who was going to run for president, speak on behalf of Hillary Clinton. So we saw Michael Bloomberg.
He never said he was going to run. Joe never said other people wanted him.
I think he certainly looked into it.
I have to tell you, I think with him going through, you know, having his son, I don't think this was one iota. I mean, I know that he knew people wanted him to, but I don't think he ever thought he was going to be able to.
But I think that regarding the team of rivals, I do believe that Hillary will use Bernie that way.
Yes, and she's smart. She will.
Well, that's how. But that's how you're supposed to. You're supposed to use both sides. Because that's the only way you can make it move forward. And somehow we have forgotten that we're not just one party or the other. We're a conglomeration of parties, and that we all have to do this together. It's kind of kooky, but maybe it'll happen. Who knows? Yeah. But the president's speech also had very optimistic tone to it. But honey, then New York former mayor by Bloomberg, he just put it right out on the table. He just said what he meant. Go check it out. It was a brilliant attack made by a billionaire equal, you know, and it's like, okay, so did he wait too long to speak out? Has he been speaking out enough for everybody? That's the question, yeah.
I think he regrets that he didn't run for president, maybe, but I don't know. He has, but you know, he's a real billionaire. There's solid money there. Trump, we still don't see his tax returns, so we don't know if that's real money or monopoly money that he's talking about.
I thought it was extremely effective coming from a successful business person who's a billionaire, who made his own way. And remember, this is someone who was a Democrat, who turned Republican, who's now an independent. So I think his message can resonate with people across party lines. Yeah. And I think what's also important is that he has experience because he ran New York City. And so he's someone that I think people believe.
Well, you know, I was saying in the meeting, Chuck Todd this morning on MSNBC was saying that the people who are voting for Trump, and there is a nice chunk of them, they have not had success in the past 8, probably 16 years with this economy the way it is. So why would they want to vote for someone who is part of that lack of success? But that is what Hillary is up against.
Which lack of success? Because again, I remember the end of Bush. I'm sorry, my 401k was taking a dump, and you know, on the railroad tracks. There was, I mean,
but there was nothing. Their 401s took as you say, a dump, but they continued to. So they still have not been able to catch up. And the technology revolution has been not kind to them.
But again, why? So you'd rather, instead of keep going forward, you want to stop? Because to me, what happened 8 years ago at the end of that was, I didn't understand it. Everything was teetering on the brink of annihilation.
Of disaster.
Of disaster. So the fact that it was a disaster 8 years ago, and it's not as much of a disaster.
Well, there's a lot of people, though, who saw their health insurance costs rise as a result of Obamacare. There's a lot of people who are discouraged workers, meaning, yeah, you may see the unemployment rate go down, but that number goes down because a lot of people have given up and stopped looking for jobs.
But this is not what they're looking at.
What are they looking at?
What they're seeing is not Democrats and Republicans. They're seeing Donald Trump. So they know they didn't do well under Bush. They know they didn't do well under Obama. This guy is a nihilist. He's going to blow everything up. And that's what they like. Yeah. That's what they want.
They think they're going to make billions of dollars. They think they're going to be able to follow his model.
He's the wild card that they've been looking for.
I just got to say very quickly, Jen is driving me crazy saying that everybody's health insurance is going up. You understand that 20 million Americans now have health insurance and didn't have it before?
Why do you keep on saying that? No, that doesn't discount the Americans who are looking at their bills and saying, my numbers have gone up. It wasn't just 20
million people that are like, thank you, President Obama. I have health insurance now.
It was sold, though. It was sold as better quality of care. It was sold as decreasing costs. It was sold as, yes, more people get insurance. But there are people you can't ignore in this country that have lost jobs and that are in a worse position. They have a voice, too. Those people deserve a voice, too.
Everybody, hell, shut up. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Democratic All-Stars were jumping for joy at the DNC last night, and she's taking you with her next. So Sonny shared this.
I went to see my son at summer camp. There he is.
He's so handsome.
Yes, he's 13.
Did you cry?
I did cry.
Oh, don't cry, Sonny, because we've got more Hot Topics heading your way. All new tomorrow at noon on ABC.
So yesterday, Joy headed to Philly after the show. She's not kicking my behind because I didn't go.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, you didn't go, but I actually was working. But yesterday, she hit the DNC, and here's what happened to Joy. Take a look.
We are charged up, fired up, and ready to go. There isn't anything that could dissuade me from knowing that I want this woman to be in charge of our future.
Okay, you heard it here from a Miami delegate.
I came here for Bernie, and I still support Bernie, but I'm a Democrat, and I'm going to support a Democrat.
So are you Hillary supporters? Yeah. So you're going to vote for Clinton, for Hillary?
I will.
Well, are you going to take the hat off? And here at on the floor of the Democratic Convention, I believe I'm looking for Barney Frank right now. Give me one word to describe Hillary and then one word to describe Trump.
Hillary, effective. Trump, he's preposterous.
Trump has no understanding of foreign policy. He doesn't get, having allies. He doesn't understand that utterances from the President of the United States could cause a world war. And I want to tell you, it's scary.
Donald Trump has now spoken to Vladimir Putin and said that Putin and the Russians hack into the DNC's emails. Well, I don't know that he spoke to Putin personally, but he spoke out to Putin in a manner that if a Democrat ever did it, the Republicans would accuse us of treason. The fact is, what he did is a treasonous act. Don't you love the fact that, it's been a long time since you ran for president, but you're still a rock star. Everybody wants to take you away from me, especially your wife.
My bride. She's the rock star.
It's his bride. I have to give him up. Goodbye, Governor. Nice to see you.
Thank you. How about Joe Biden? He's pretty sexy.
I love him.
He is a sexy man.
Yeah.
I can't wait for his speech. I'm told he wrote his entire speech on used pressed white stripes. I'm not saying Joe Biden's teeth are incredibly white, but I heard they're voting for Trump.
Star Jones, who just spoke at the convention. It was impressive that you spoke.
Last night made me cry. The first woman to be running for president for a major party.
Hey, Anderson, come here. Lobster rolls they have.
Lobster rolls is chicken.
Do you see how healthy he's eating?
I'm trying.
Oh, everyone's so good around here.
Well, I think Chris Christie is actually vying for a very important position in the Trump administration.
Really?
Yes.
Which is what?
Well, some people think Attorney General, but I think he's actually going to be the wall.
It's the wall.
He's going to be the entire wall.
No presidential candidate has refused to release his or her tax returns. And he seems to get away with that. He gets away with that. He gets away with calling people names. What is going to stop this guy?
In the fairness to your viewers, this seems to be a slanted interview.
Yes, it is. Is there something good you would like to say about Trump? This is a tough one.
I don't know.
Trump was the one that made me get a prenup.
Gosh, I'd like to be able to say good things about people. I do. Hey, well, to be fair, there's nothing I like about it.
Triumph the insult thing. He was funny. He's funny. I know. Well, I think we have more tomorrow on that. We have more. I talked to a lot of people.
Well, good.
Nancy Pelosi was interesting. I think they'll show it tomorrow. I said to her, what's going on? She says, every time Trump opens his mouth, he's saying something to this effect. He's saying to the American people, help me. Don't elect me. Basically. Like, I want you to, because I can't do it. Because I can't do it, and I need your help to stop me. So he keeps saying crazy stuff over and over again.
He's out of control. I mean, yesterday he was under fire for a press conference that he gave where he made this. Now, people lost their minds over this. Democrats say he's being disloyal to America. People are asking if he committed a crime. Is he someone who should be talked about in terms of treason? Because they were outing Hillary during the Republican convention, they said, "Oh, arrest her, put her in jail, lock her up."
Yeah.
Well, done.
Get that orange.
What do you think?
Baby.
Well, I mean,
She said in the tapes piece when she said utterances like this on the world stage could cause a world war. Yeah, and I think that's so important is that when you have this discussion, some people say, oh, it's his style, it's his flair, he was being sarcastic, it was a joke. That is one thing to say. It's already irresponsible, domestically speaking. When you're on the international stage and you're the most powerful person of the most powerful country, it is so dangerous. What could happen?
Because he uttered it, and exactly. I think we need to make it clear that on Fox News this morning, Trump said, of course I'm being sarcastic. So he sort of, moved away from it. But I think,
he's joking. Everything he says, he does more jokes than I do.
I mean, the bottom bottom line is, if you look at the true definition of treason, or if you look at the true definition of that sort of illegal type of speech, you know, if you say something that could give aid and comfort to the enemy, that is just textbook treason.
You know, it's trending. Treasonous Trump is trending right now.
But it is one of those things where it's like, listen, man, you're endangering a whole bunch of people when you do this. And if you are this loose-lipped, you know, because everybody, what was that poor man's name?
Which one?
No. You know, there are too many of them.
Give us the hint. The speaker.
Paul Ryan, thank you. Paul Ryan was talking about Hillary not getting the briefs. You know,
the security briefs.
Oh, yeah, that she shouldn't be allowed,
I look at what he's annoyed with her about, and I look at this, and if I was going to hold back giving anybody security information, I have to say it might be treasonous Trump.
Well, Republicans should be, I mean, Republicans should be outraged because when he's saying something like, oh, they probably have 33,000 emails, I hope they do. That's insanity. The reason I've taken issue with Hillary Clinton and the private server is because, heaven forbid, Russia should gain access to those emails. Now all of a sudden, he's saying, well, now, because it's convenient for me that the information might help me, I hope they do. No, Donald, because guess what else might be in there? Stuff that might hurt us. So Republicans, stop defending. That's right. I mean, right? We agree on that finally, Jen, right? We agree on that.
But, you know, I think people really need to look at the Trump-Russia ties, because when you know, in 1987, he went to Moscow to find a site for a luxury hotel. In 1996, he sought to build a condominium complex. In 2005, he signed a one-year deal with the New York Development Company to explore a Trump Tower in Moscow.
I think Sarah Palin could see him from her house.
I will be right back.
Coming up, the co-hosts reveal the worst things an ex could say about them.
Apparently, there are a lot of teachers in the audience, so this will give you some pause. A substitute teacher in Iowa, accused of having sex with a student, says it's the school's fault that it happened. She claims officials knew what was going on for months and turned a blind eye to it. Now, if this is true, does the school share some of the blame here? Should the school be arrested too?
You could make the case. You could make the case the way the Catholic Church, the hierarchy, allowed the priests, the predatory priests, to do their dirty work. And the schools knew about that this was going on, apparently. That's what I read anyway. And they could have done something. They could.
Can I ask a really stupid question?
Okay.
Why didn't she stop herself from doing it?
Well, you know the answer to that? The answer is the devil made me do it.
Okay, I just was curious, because, you know, sometimes I go dumb and I don't realize.
I wouldn't go as far as to say it's the school's fault, but if they were aware and let it happen, they definitely need to take some responsibility.
I think that there is something about personal responsibility and accountability when it comes to teacher, you know, this type of behavior with a teacher, because as a parent, you know, we trust our children to be with their teachers all day when they are not with us. And that's a very
not all
important,
night.
Not all night. That's a very important responsibility. But if you look at the stats, about 15% of students will be sexually abused by a member of the school staff during their school year.
How many?
15%.
15.
And actually, one of my first cases in the child sex crimes unit was a football coach having sex with a student. It was one of my cases in D.C. So it's something that happens often, and by and large, my experience is that a lot of the teachers either blame the environment, blame the school, and say, you know, that the kid was very mature, older. There's a lot to be said about personal
Putting it on their records, though, because the other problem is a lot of times they'll give them a good recommendation. Let that teacher, that's in my high school. A teacher came, a band teacher, and no one was told why he left his last school, and he ended up abusing a high school student, and we found out later. That is unforgivable.
It's all about protecting the institution.
But even on the college level, you know, when a person is over 18, shouldn't students and teachers have a student-teacher relationship, or do you then matriculate to because you're older and can make better decisions?
No, I don't think school usually has a policy about any kind of like indiscreet. Stop looking at me like that. You're right.
Didn't you have a little thing with the professor?
Yeah.
She did.
Come on, fess up.
A long I did. I dated a teacher a long time ago. College.
How old was he?
Somebody's gonna get this right today, and it's not gonna be me. I was 18. He was 34.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's really inappropriate. I had a professor make a pass at me too.
What department was he in? I'm just curious.
It's so inappropriate, but I had a professor make a pass at me too, and I was like trying to get some information about an exam, and he was like trying to rub my shoulder.
What type of class was it?
What do you think I'm saying?
Was it a good class?
It was a fantastic class. I learned so much.
But it's inappropriate.
Did a guy was he tall?
You know what? It's inappropriate.
Sonny is going to read a statement.
Read a statement. It's inappropriate to have this kind of relationship with your college professor. Cedar Rapids Community School District says, due to a miscommunication with the substitute placement system, the individual in question, this is that teacher, was placed in a substitute teaching position for a short time in an elementary setting at the end of the 2015-16 school year. The district is not aware of any issues the substitute employee had while working in the elementary setting. Providing for the safety of the district students is of paramount importance to the district, so they are denying the fact that they knew that this was going on.
Okay, all right.
That's a little better.
Well, here you go. Told you it was interesting. We'll be right back. Olympic swimmer Ryan Lochte just told Cosmopolitan magazine that he's had his fair share of bad dates.
Young girls.
But he says his worst date was with a woman he was really attracted to online who turned out to be a total dud. So, is this a shock? Does this happen? Or is this, we should stop the presses for this? I mean...
Well, those are his words. She called this woman a total dud.
But it's one date of many.
Like, he's cute. Maybe she sat down and was like, oh.
Maybe if they weren't meant to, maybe they just don't have anything in common. Is it bad for him to say that this date was a dud? Do you think? A lot of people think that you can't say that.
No.
I mean, I like that he was honest about it. I went on a date a year ago, and I had to leave the guy. I mean, I was terrible, but he was so boring, and he was kind and sweet, but he was
What is this going to teach, Jedediah?
We're never going to let that go. You know we're never going to let that go.
I'll never live it down. But I had to leave. I had to make an exit. And I don't need the hottest guy in the room. In fact, I don't date the hot guy usually. I date the funny guy, the entertaining guy, the guy that's going to make me laugh. So I think if somebody's a dud, you can say. I mean, if somebody went out with me and they thought I was boring and they said she's a dud, that's your opinion.
It's a deserted island guy. If you're stuck on a deserted island, get someone that's going to make you laugh, tell you stories, fun to hang out with.
Just somebody who can dig a hole so you can go to the bathroom. Just saying, because you don't want to be stepping in, you know.
The thing that was a little odd about the article was that he went out of his way to say that she was an accountant and a dud. So I started to think maybe he's not into smart girls.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of men don't like smart girls.
What does he do exactly?
He's an Olympic swimmer.
He's a hot Olympic swimmer, and she was a dud accountant.
You know, I was just thinking of this thing I read one time about Esther Williams, who was a famous movie star who swam and worked at MGM for years. She's a big star. And Fanny Bryce said about her, wet, she's a star. Dry, she ain't. Wet, he's a star.
Wet, he's a star. Maybe he's the dud. Maybe he just couldn't, yeah, right? I mean, maybe he couldn't relate.
But maybe neither one of them was a dud. Maybe they weren't duds. Maybe it just wasn't for him. It might just, you know, sometimes stuff ain't for, everything isn't for everybody all the time. It just isn't. Well, but, you know, but him being hot doesn't equate anything except that he's, you know, it's like a arm candy. That's all.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's kind of crazy. You know, everybody has bad dates, I assume.
Yeah. It also could have been like she wasn't into him, so she was bored and came off like a dud.
It may
exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. You know, but I don't know. That could be.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a bad date?
You know, I've had so few dates in my life.
You're not a dater?
I just get married.
Skip the middleman. Oddly enough, I used to do the same thing. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow on The View, we're eating up with even more hot sauce. And we've got our happy faces on, because it's Friday. Plus, we can't wait to hang with Oscar winner Melissa Tomei. TGIF, all new tomorrow on The View on ABC.
So apparently, some parents have taken to giving out apology goodie bags when they board a plane with a baby. But a blog in The Guardian says it's time for parents to stop saying, I'm sorry for flying with their kids, baby. Fry, you have enough to deal with other passengers. Just have to deal with it.
I agree. Because I used to think that people that handed that stuff out were so sweet, but those are the people that can actually achieve Pinterest-level things. Because I have to fly with a baby now. And the idea of surviving the flight through everything with a baby, that was enough effort. I can't apologize for it, too. But, you know, I don't know. I've always traveled with my children. I think I traveled with Paloma when she was 4 months old. And sometimes kids just lose it and they cry. And you just deal with that. But what I don't like seeing is parents that aren't parenting on the plane. Parents that are going to, you know, like, sometimes you're sitting there and they're like, let him cry it out. I'm like, don't let him cry it out because I've got to listen to it. Like, you can do that at a chair and have loud toys. And you just can't. You've got to be a little bit more considerate.
Every time the kid kicks me, I always say, I'm never having another baby. I've said that many times.
Just let the parents.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm still waiting to talk to the folks because I believe that if we created Air for parents, where you can have changing tables, where you can have what you need, where babies are crying and it's okay because people are going to have babies, you know. And if you really want to make it sort of equitable and give them a break, the parents, give them an airline.
Yeah, and sort of line like,
you know,
right? I use that.
You know, so
line upon
Can I tell you something funny? I don't have kids, but I feel like I have to share my piece. I once traveled with a cat, and the cat meowed for 5.5 hours. What? I mean, it sounded like the cat was dying under my seat for 5.5 hours. I bought everybody a drink. So
I think parents deserve to have an airline because I feel like you can't change your baby in the airline bathroom.
No,
you can't. You know, you're trying to get everything you need. If the stewardesses, the stewards, have milk, baby milk, that they can also give as they're giving the champagne to the parents who need it. I mean, I just feel like we're such a wealthy country. Why haven't we done this? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think
going to do that. It's a great idea.
For almost as long as I've been here, I say it every couple of years because I feel like we must help. You know, I'm not having any more.
It's basically a charter flight for screaming children.
You have two, you have 19 flights that go back and forth. You got, 17 flights to go to Los Angeles, 10 flights to go to Washington. So if you can take 2 of those flights so people know that at 11 a.m. I can grab, that's when I can get my kid on the flight. We can go do what we have to do. I mean, we have enough airplanes. It can be done.
And if you think about it, 64% of Americans travel with kids that are 18 years or older every year. 64%.
18 years younger.
Yeah. That's a good business model, Whoopi.
I know, babe.
I'm signing up.
You know.
Yeah.
Are you
sign up for this first? It is the final week to compete in the summer season of the View Fantasy Movie League, and it looks like Joy is running away with it right now.
Twice. I think I won one.
No, you haven't. We just got, this is the second one. I won the first one. You winning this one.
She's
You're gonna win this
clearly guessing, but she's also commanding the top spot in the co-host competition for the 3rd week in a row.
Yes.
And the overall leader right now is backseat directing. So get to the View website. What are we playing? Nothing. You are part of the team. Because the golden ticket winner gets a trip for 2 to New York to see the View. I want that. And the grand prize winner scores a trip for 2 to Hollywood every week for a year.
That's going to be so good.
Yeah, that's amazing. I like that one.
But what was the Lights Out thing? It said
Lights Out's a movie.
That sounds very.
While they figure it out, I'll just let you know. We'll be right back. A lady asked an interesting question. We're talking about vocational schools, which don't exist in our country anymore. Do you remember when people could go to a vocational school and learn something?
And they were worth something. You know, I remember when I was working for the State Employment Service, the Navy Yard went out.
Right.
And I had to counsel these guys who were pipe fitters and plumbers and all of the jobs that you need in the world.
These are the ones.
To retrain at the Apex school and this school. And the state paid for all of it.
And, that's what we have to watch out for each other. That's the stuff we need to do. We want to also say to you, thank you for coming, because we're much better when you're in an audience. And it's kind of groovy. Have a great day and take a little time to enjoy whatever view you happen upon. Yeah.